Myrnohrad, Donetsk Oblast, Ukraine. Once a quiet industrial city, rarely mentioned beyond regional maps and cold statistics. Today it has become something else entirely, a symbol of pressure, exhaustion, and a front line that can no longer breathe. The streets are empty, not because the fighting has stopped, but because it never does. Smoke rises from shattered districts. The echo of artillery rolls endlessly across broken concrete and abandoned high-rises. This is not the sound of a sudden collapse. This is the sound of something being slowly crushed. What is happening in Myrnohrad is not chaos. It is not randomness. It is a calculated squeeze. A methodical operation unfolding day by day, hour by hour, with one clear objective: to force the defenders into a corner where survival becomes the only remaining priority. Myrnohrad is no longer a city with depth. It is no longer a city with maneuver space. It is a pocket forming under pressure. Russian forces are advancing from multiple directions, closing distances not through reckless charges, but through controlled movement supported by overwhelming firepower. Roads that once served as supply arteries are now watched, targeted, or completely severed. Convoys attempting to reach Ukrainian units are intercepted or destroyed before they ever reach the outskirts. As the encirclement tightens, Ukrainian defensive positions begin to lose their meaning. A trench is only useful if it can be reinforced. A strong point only matters if it can be resupplied. In Myrnohrad, neither is happening. Fuel shortages emerge first, then ammunition. Medical evacuation becomes impossible. Rotations stop entirely. Units that were never meant to stay indefinitely are now trapped in place, forced to hold ground that no longer offers protection. Encirclement is not about dramatic breakthroughs. It is about cutting oxygen, and Myrnohrad is running out of air. Above the city, the battlefield belongs to drones. Russian reconnaissance drones operate continuously, circling silently over Ukrainian positions, turning every movement into data. Trenches, armored vehicles, command posts, artillery positions, nothing remains concealed for long. Even attempts at camouflage become meaningless when observed from multiple angles, day and night, in visible and thermal spectrums. Once a target is identified, it is marked. Coordinates are transmitted, and within minutes, sometimes seconds, the response arrives. This constant surveillance creates a psychological weight that is impossible to escape. Ukrainian soldiers cannot move freely. They cannot regroup without risk. Even brief exposure becomes a gamble with death. Every position feels temporary. Every shelter feels compromised. In modern warfare, visibility is vulnerability. In Myrnohrad, visibility is everywhere. The drones do not kill alone. They guide the true engine of destruction. Russian artillery operates with relentless rhythm. Batteries fire in waves, adjusting with drone feedback, correcting strikes until Ukrainian positions are not just damaged, but rendered unusable. Trenches collapse. Fighting positions are buried. Vehicles are immobilized or destroyed before they ever engage. Artillery fire does not seek heroism, it seeks exhaustion. It forces defenders to choose between holding ground and staying alive. Over time, that choice becomes impossible. Ukrainian units attempt to relocate, to reposition, to adapt. But every movement is detected. Every withdrawal invites fire. Every regrouping is punished. The battlefield becomes a cycle. Observe, strike, adjust, repeat. And with each cycle, the defenders lose more ground, more equipment, and more cohesion. Then comes the weapon that changes everything. FAB bombs. When they fall, the battlefield does not just shake, it transforms. These are not precision strikes meant to surgically remove a target. These are instruments of overwhelming force, designed to erase entire positions. The FAB-1500, the FAB-3000, dropped from altitude, guided, unstoppable. Ukrainian strongpoints that survived weeks of shelling vanish in moments. Reinforced concrete caves in, underground positions collapse, shockwaves travel through entire districts, leaving nothing but dust, fire, and silence behind. There is no counter to gravity. There is no defense against mass. For Ukrainian troops on the ground, these strikes are not just destructive, they are demoralizing. A position that took weeks to prepare can disappear in seconds. A sense of permanence vanishes. Every shelter becomes temporary. Every defense becomes fragile. This is not warfare meant to capture ground inch by inch. This is warfare meant to break the idea of holding ground at all. Under constant bombardment, Ukrainian defensive lines begin to fracture. Some units withdraw under fire, abandoning positions not because they lack courage, but because staying means certain death. Others are cut off entirely, unable to retreat, unable to advance, unable to communicate. Command structures weaken. Orders arrive late or not at all. Radios go silent. Coordination breaks down into isolated groups acting on instinct rather than strategy. What remains is survival warfare. Small clusters of soldiers holding ruins, basements, shell craters, not to defend territory, but to stay alive until the next strike. The city turns into a maze of isolated resistance, no longer unified, no longer capable of coordinated defense. Then, unexpectedly, something different appears. Leaflets dropped not by aircraft, but by drones, floating down into trenches, ruins, and contested streets. Clear messages, simple instructions, guarantees of survival. Surrender before the next strike. In some sectors, Russian forces prepare thousands of leaflets, loading them into MLRS rockets. Where explosions once landed, paper now falls. Not fire, but choice. This tactic is not accidental. It is psychological warfare at its most calculated. Ukrainian soldiers, exhausted, wounded, and surrounded, are offered an alternative to annihilation, and many take it. Groups emerge cautiously from destroyed positions, hands raised, weapons discarded, not as an act of cowardice, but as an act of survival in a battlefield that offers no other option. New videos begin to surface. Russian soldiers questioning captured Ukrainian troops one by one. Calm voices, direct questions, unit names, call signs, command structures, planned movements. The footage does not show chaos, it shows collapse. Each captured group confirms the same story. Supply lines cut, positions destroyed, command absent, no evacuation, no relief. These are not isolated incidents. They are symptoms of a broader breakdown unfolding across Myrnohrad. As these images circulate, official statements tell a different story. Ukrainian authorities deny the collapse. They claim control, they claim successful defense, they claim Russian retreat. But these claims remain unverified. On the ground, the pressure continues. Russian forces claim expanding control. Ukrainian units continue to surrender or withdraw. The reality of Myrnohrad is written not in press releases, but in ruins and footage. This is not just a military battle. It is an information war, and both sides know its importance. Myrnohrad is not isolated. It is the sister city of Pokrovsk. Its fate is directly tied to the broader Donetsk front. If Myrnohrad falls, the strategic balance shifts dramatically. Russian advances here suggest more than a local success. They indicate a front under sustained pressure, cracking across multiple axes. Western analysts watch closely. NATO assessments grow quieter. Timelines are revised, expectations adjusted. What was once considered unlikely now appears increasingly possible. The inevitable question. Myrnohrad still stands for now, but cities do not fall all at once. They fall when resistance becomes unsustainable, when supply lines are cut, when defenses are erased, when survival outweighs strategy. All signs suggest that Myrnohrad is approaching that moment. If the current pressure continues, if encirclement tightens further, if firepower remains unchecked, the outcome may already be decided. Not in years, not in months, but by early 2026, this is not the end of a battle. This is the sound of a front giving way. Until now, that's all for today, and thanks for watching.